Here we go. So Joe Biden called into Morning Joe Ball, and this describes it as a very defiant and frustrated Joe Biden on Morning Joe dares the elites in the Democratic Party to challenge him at the convention. So this has really happened. So listen to this.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody.
Okay, Jack, shot. Give it a straight shot.
Best Biden ever.
Mr. President, you already tried giving everybody a shot, and we're still recovering from the side effects. Okay? Here we go.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One.
So he's trying to pretend that the average voter is why he's president. Now, we all remember that Barack Obama had to make the phone call and to get everybody else to drop out because Bernie Sanders was going to become the Democratic nominee. Now, do you remember that in 2020?
Yes, I do remember that.
Yes. And they let Elizabeth Warren stay in to split Bernie's votes.
Well, but Biden's the first black woman to be the
first black woman.
Vice president.
Okay.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance.
You mandated that shot. The Supreme Court overturned you.
A free shot and a booster.
And a booster.
Number one. Number two. Remember all this talk about...
Number two, I did in my pants right in front of Macron. Okay, I can't stop.
The American public is not going to move away from me as an average voter. And again, I'm here for two reasons, pal. One, to rebuild the economy for hardworking middle-class people, give everybody a shot. Just a straight shot. Everybody gets a fair chance. Number one. Number two, remember all this talk about how I don't have the black support? Come on, give me a break.
Oh.
That's it.
You got...
All he says is, come on, give me a break.
Joe better watch it, Joe Scarborough, because he's about to not be black any second now.
Any second. I love how he just has to sit there and take it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Come with me. Watch. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites in the party.
I'm not talking about you slowpokes.
I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you guys who host a television show. They're not the elite. By the way, Joe Scarborough called for you to drop out.
He likes this Scarborough kid.
So you are talking about him. Okay, hang on.
Jack.
I like how he says, you're not the elites. You guys are just scrubs. You guys are you're the B team.
Come on, give me a break. Come with me. Watch. Watch. I'm getting so frustrated by the elites. Now, I'm not talking about you guys, but about the elites.
The elites.
Keith Olbermann?
Who does he consider the elites now? Anybody who could make it to a urinal? Without standing there peeing randomly? I don't know. What does he mean elite? Here we go.
The party, who they know so much more. But any of these guys don't think I should run against me. Go ahead, announce the president. Challenge me at the convention.
Oh, it's called a shadow government, Mr. President. They stay in the shadows. Run against you.
So there he is. He has a shot.
F you. If you can't
F you.
I hate his stupid accent.
Well, I wish I would have get. There were more clips to that I saw on Twitter I should have grabbed where he was, again, incoherent.
Should like clip him with Joe Scarborough saying F you and them fighting. And
he said that Donald Trump, he lied 50 times. Because it went from 28 now to 50. And then they said, and he goes, like when he said 10%, and forget it. He couldn't even name one. I can't believe I don't have that clip.
Do you know Donald Trump had over 80,000 lies during his... now, sure, I'll give him like 10,000 lies.
Yeah.
I'll give Biden 30 lies at the debate. But the 80 lies, Jimmy? That's too many lies. So
you want to hear... so here's a guy who spent 4 years in a foxhole in Da Nang.
What?
We thought it'd be funny if we replaced everyone in his apartment complex with Viet Cong. Now,
what is that?
That's this guy, Kevin
Candy Camera?
Yeah.
He's on that guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be like a rated X show. There's like a sturdy version.
Really?
That couldn't be on TV. Yeah. I never rented it, but it used to be on VHS. It was like all like naked pranks, and it was Candy
no
Camera.
Kidding.
Yeah, like Too Hot for TV, I guess.
Oh, no kidding.
Weird as hell.
I didn't know that. My friend Kevin from Milwaukee has the funniest bit about it ever. He would do all those. Here's a guy who spent 4 years
Who
in
was
a
the
fox.
host?
So it was Alan Funt
Oh, right, okay. Alan Funt.
in Da Nang.
Yeah.
We thought it'd be funny if we replaced everyone in his apartment complex with Viet Cong. Now let's watch the fun as he goes to pay his rent.
You know what? He was better than Bob Saget as the video guy.
Yeah, I mean, Bob was he was good. I like Bob. He was a nice guy.
I mean, as an announcer of the things.
Yeah. So now this is Representative Adam Smith. He says the quiet part out loud how the elites and the Democratic establishment didn't want Bernie Sanders in 2020 and picked Joe Biden. So Joe Biden's saying it's the elites who don't want him in. It's the regular people. The only reason you're in is because of the elites. Here we go. Watch this.
I got to make one other point.
Yeah.
So the president talked today about how now it's all the elites who are trying to force him out.
Right.
Let's remember what happened in 2020. Okay. The president did not run a great primary campaign. He lost badly in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada. He came out of Nevada and Bernie Sanders looked like the presumptive nominee. And this exact same group of people,
The elites.
that the president is now deriding as elites. And by the way, they're not. They're Democrats. Okay. They're party operatives, they're donors, they're volunteers, decided. And
I like how he said the party operatives, the donors, the volunteers. They decided. The volunteers decided? The volunteers decided that
the Bernie supporters out there, I'm not judging this positively or negatively, they decided they didn't want Bernie Sanders to be the nominee.
Really?
So operatives?
So operatives?
Not the actual people voting, just people that work in getting people elected.
Yes. So this not the voters. The voters were picking Bernie Sanders.
So Biden's right to be talking to the elites.
So he's going to tell that's so right. So
Biden's saying, "Hey, I know you put me in, but fuck yourself." That's what he's saying.
So let's listen to this. Ready?
Right. He lost badly in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada. He came out of Nevada and Bernie Sanders looked like the presumptive nominee. And this exact same group of people,
the elites,
that the president is now deriding as elites. And by the way, they're not. They're Democrats. Okay. They're party
They're not elites. They're Democrats.
Party operatives, donors.
So listen, he says they're party operatives.
They're donors.
They're donors.
They're volunteers.
They're volunteers.
Did he just throw in volunteer at the end?
Yes.
To like try to make something that wasn't purely
deep
state sounding.
People in hey, when you're done stuffing those envelopes, I need you to jump on a Zoom call with Obama and Jamie Dimon to talk about getting Buttigieg and Klobuchar to drop out and endorse Biden. When you're done doing your door knocking today, I need you to hop on a Zoom with Obama so we can make sure that Joe Biden.
Who's that kid that gets coffee? Get on the horn, Obama.
Get him. We got a Zoom call.
Tell him we got to.
He talks about volunteers. He's talking about people like Jamie Dimon and Bill Gates. You know, the people who volunteer their time and their money.
The great Abigail Disney.
Listen, he said they're not elites. They're volunteer. But look at he says the quiet part out loud. He says the voters didn't decide. It was the party operatives and the donors who decided that they didn't want Bernie Sanders to beat. And it goes right past Jake Tapper. Of course it does. Here we go. Watch this. I'm going to play it again. I want to hear it. I want to hear him say it one more time.
Now deriding as elites. And by the way, they're not. They're Democrats. Okay. They're party operatives. They're donors. They're volunteers. Decided, and to all the Bernie supporters out there, I'm not judging this positively or negatively. They decided they didn't want Bernie Sanders to be the nominee. They decided that Joe Biden would be the better nominee. And
so you think you'd leave it up to the voters? No. You think you'd try to what?
Well, it's because I've had it with Biden's elite bashing.
But he's talking about 2020.
Yeah.
So the Democratic Party doesn't leave it up to the vote. The people who say that democracy's on the ballot,
right? They
let a bunch of insiders decide that the people were picking Bernie Sanders. Sorry,
I said democratocracy, not democracy.
Yes.
credit again to the president. He decided that because he did 8 years as vice president. He did the years in the Senate. He had the record to be a strong president. And so they, through their support behind Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren and Mike Bloomberg and Amy Klobuchar, and I may be forgetting a few others, stepped aside for the candidate who was better. This myth.
Why was he better? Okay, so why would he be better if everybody didn't want him except for some very rich people?
That's right. So this is the party that says democracy's on the ballot. They decided to rig their primary, have all those people step aside, and at the behest of the donor class. That's what he's saying. The donors decided, and party operatives, we gotta submarine this guy Bernie Sanders, who's going to become the nominee. And how do we do it? We get all these people to drop out, except for Elizabeth Warren, so we could split his support. And then we all throw our support behind Joe Biden.
And then we have her smear him as saying a woman can't win.
Yeah, we have her lie about Bernie, that he's a sexist. Even though that's what we're trying to say about
alpha. I'm sick of his toxic masculinity all the time.
Oh, Bernie with his...
He never knows how to give a little. You don't always have to go charge in like a bull to try to get your agenda done like a alpha male.
He doesn't know how to compromise.
That's the problem.
Somehow Joe Biden came in and rescued us. It has been a nationwide movement since Donald Trump was elected president. And in 2020, that nationwide movement said, Joe, you're the best guy, let's go. Right now, they don't.
It wasn't because they thought Joe Biden was the best guy to win the presidency. They didn't want Bernie Sanders and his brand of lefty progressivism as president. The donor class wanted a reliable tool like Joe Biden. Who's the donor class? Wall Street, mostly Wall Street, wanted to make sure that Joe Biden was president and not Bernie Sanders, because Bernie Sanders might actually regulate them a little. Maybe he wouldn't. Now we know he wouldn't do anything. That's the whole thing.
He's the biggest pushover. He's worse than Biden.
Yes.
But they don't even like the way he talks.
That's right.
I don't even want to hear that
millionaires and billionaires.
Yeah, you got to talk like...
And the insurance companies and the big pharma, they didn't want to hear Bernie Sanders talking about Medicare for all.
Yeah.
Nothing. And so they're the ones who chose. So again, you don't get to vote. This idea that you get your candidates are chosen by a donor class. Okay.
He is.
So I'll play that all the way through.
I got to make one other point.
Yeah.
So the president talked today about how now it's all the elites who are trying to force him out.
Right.
Let's remember what happened in 2020. Okay. The president did not run a great primary campaign. He lost badly in Iowa, New Hampshire, and Nevada.
He's losing his ass off.
He came out of Nevada, and Bernie Sanders looked like the presumptive nominee. And this exact same group of people,
the elites,
that the president is now deriding as elites. And by the way, they're not. They're Democrats. Okay. They're party operatives, they're donors, they're volunteers, decided, and to all the Bernie supporters out there, I'm not judging this positively or negatively, they decided they didn't want Bernie Sanders to be the nominee. They decided that Joe Biden would be the better nominee, and credit again to the president. He decided that because he did 8 years as vice president. He did the years in the Senate. He had the record to be a strong president. And so they, through their support behind Joe Biden, and Pete Buttigieg and Elizabeth Warren and Mike Bloomberg and Amy Klobuchar, and I may be forgetting a few others, stepped aside for the candidate who was better. This myth that somehow Joe Biden came in and rescued us. It has been a nationwide movement since Donald Trump was elected president. And in 2020, that nationwide movement said, Joe, you're the best guy, let's go. Right now, they don't think he is.
So let's just remember, looking for Obama's hidden hand and candidates coalescing around Biden. Pressure increases on Mike Bloomberg as candidates exit the race and back Joe Biden. So even NBC was saying this was coming from Obama. Again, Obama, the biggest tool of Wall Street, which is why as soon as he left the White House, he went right to Wall Street and did speech after speech for millions of dollars, and his cabinet did the exact same thing. There was headlines about no cabinet went faster from the White House to Wall Street than Barack Obama's cabinet. Of course, we know his entire cabinet was chosen by Wall Street. There was an email revealed from Citibank or Citigroup, and there's a list of people that Citigroup, meaning Wall Street, wanted in his campaign, in his White House. Every person on that list ended up in Barack Obama's White House. And how do we know about that list? Because Julian Assange revealed it through WikiLeaks. So that's who's choosing your president. And then you get to vote for whoever Wall Street chose.
Why they even, why don't, why
and that's why they hate Donald Trump, because they didn't choose him.
No,
they
right,
didn't choose him.
No, they had a role he was supposed to do. He was not supposed to be the breakout hit.
That's right.
But why? Okay. One, as you know, Biden's still my guy, and I've made that clear over and over again. Okay. I'm with Whoopi Goldberg on this one. Hey, I have poopy days too. But I just want to warn Mr. President, if Obama calls you up to go on any like naked paddleboarding trips, do not go. He's gonna tell you about the rabbits, if you know what I mean.
I love how they say that he did his, he did his time as vice president. His time as vice president. The only reason Joe Biden was vice president was for two reasons: to assure the white racists that we're going to have a racist guy like Joe Biden keeping an eye on Barack Obama.
Right.
Right. So you could vote for a guy with the Muslim name. Right.
Right.
And assassination insurance, because nobody wanted Joe Biden to become president, just like Kamala Harris is for him.
The old Dan Quayle.
That's right. Nobody wants Kamala Harris. That's right.
Wow, that's right. Boy, every president must think that way. Like, who's the guy that no one wants to be president if they kill me?
That's right. Oh, but hey, be careful. You don't want to have Joe Biden, Joe Apocalypse as president.
Oh my God.
And here's a little more. Accelerate the end game. Obama's role in wrapping up the primary. So this is from April 14, 2020. So that's who did. So he got his marching orders from Wall Street and the donor class, and he came and did it. And you can't have a Pete Buttigieg or go up against Barack Obama. So they all completely bent the knee and got out. Can you look up, when did Elizabeth Warren drop out of the 2020 primary? When did Elizabeth Warren drop out of the 2020 primary? On March 5th, following disappointing results on... So they kept her in for Super Tuesday. Let me see this.
Oh,
when did Pete Buttigieg drop out of the 2020 primary? On March 1st. So I guess right before Super Tuesday. So they kept Elizabeth Warren... When was Super Tuesday 2020? When was Super Tuesday in 2020? It doesn't. Surrey doesn't know what I'm asking.
Do you think Elizabeth Warren will ever tell us the tale of the campaign trail of tears?
What day was Super Tuesday in 2020? It just keeps telling me it's...
I don't talk that thing.
Yeah. Do you know what it was?
No.
No? It won't tell you?
No.
Google? So anyway, so that's what that is. All right, over to Steph.
Okay, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. We have a special guest coming on later today. About 4:30, we have David Martin. It'll be an interesting... That'll be about the time that we're going to go to Rumble. So I think we're going to wait to go to Rumble, Jimmy, until that interview. What do you think about that? Does that work for you? That works for Jimmy. All right. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Sparky, did you hear that Adam Carolla destroyed Gavin Newsom in a recent interview? Sparky, we covered it, buddy. Where were you?
We covered it.
Were you on vacation, Sparky? Yeah. And I guess somebody was saying that a couple years earlier, they also had a very, they argued. So I haven't found that clip yet. Maybe you have.
Yeah, like 2012 they argued.
Right? SS, Biden trying to do tough guy persona. No kidding. You know what? As I was listening to Joe Biden call into Scarborough, I kept thinking it was Mike McRae. Right? I'm like, oh, people might think it's
like that.
Why wouldn't they just have someone do that?
Yeah, why?
Because he's not on camera. Why would he just have someone do an impression?
Right?
Because I think they want him to go, so now they're going to let him suck as much as possible till he has to go.
So
you go to Jimmy.
So watch this. Jake Tapper aired Joe Biden's embarrassing clips, and his facial expressions and comments are priceless. Here, let's watch this. Here we go.
In reality, 72% of voters say that they believe President Biden is too old. That's according to CNN's most recent polling. Voters have been saying this for quite a long time. The reality is that the Democratic elites are mostly late to acknowledge these age and ability.
You don't put it on them.
As are you, Jake.
Yo, it's on you. The elites paid for him.
That's right.
With their money, they don't waste their money.
You're the one who's supposed to report it, Jake.
I'm going to make Biden face the whole time I watch this. I'm going to go,
Shoes compared to the rest of the public. The elites have been forced to reckon with it after the debate just 11 days ago.
Look at my career. I've not had many of those nights. It was a terrible night, and I really regret it happened. But the fact of the matter is, how can you assure you're going to be on faith that can intervene on your way to go to, work tomorrow?
What?
Age wasn't, the idea I'm too old.
The fact of the matter is, how can you assure you're going to be out on your way to go, work tomorrow? Age wasn't, the idea that I'm...
No.
Oh, wow. So, hold on. Jake Tapper just discovered reading transcripts of Biden's gibberish.
Yes.
That we've done for 3 years straight.
Yes.
And then when it wasn't gibberish, it was totally stolen.
So now Jake Tapper, just like Jon Stewart, just like Joe Scarborough, just like Anderson Cooper,
Colbert's a big one.
They all got permission to tell the truth about Joe Biden's dementia. They all of a sudden got permission. The only people telling
their conscience got the better of them?
The only people that were telling you the truth about it was right at this show. We've been saying that Joe Biden is a walking demented death rattle since 2019. And and that's not to make fun of his illness. That's to make fun of how hard that the establishment and the media like Jake Tapper has been lying to. Just 5 seconds ago, he's been saying these were cheap fakes.
I was making fun of his illness. Fuck him.
Whoa.
So let's. All of a sudden, that's how you know what a good. Here we go. So now,
the fact of the matter is, how can you assure you're going to be out on your way to go, work tomorrow? Age wasn't, the idea that I'm too old. Keep in mind that soundbite is supposed to be reassuring to those Democratic supporters who have gone along with it.
Did you ever watch the debate afterwards?
I don't think I did, no.
He doesn't think he did? He called into a couple of black radio stations where he said, among other things, this.
By the way, I'm proud to be, as I said, the first vice president, first black woman, served with a black president.
I'm proud too.
I'm proud of the role of the first black woman in the Supreme Court. There's just so much that we can do because together there's nothing. Look, this is the United States of America.
What?
He's proud to be the first black woman. Not coherent. And even then, we later found out
they gave them we already covered it because Jake saw, but we covered it. Joe Biden he gave that interviewer the question and he still couldn't answer it.
Yeah, well, here's what I want to answer. I want to say the word black about 50 times and then say we could do anything. Look. What question would that possibly have been that would be the answer?
Later, from the radio host that the Biden campaign had given her a list of questions to ask President Biden. That is a huge no-no in journalism, and the host was fired for it, but it remains quite telling that in the Biden campaign's efforts to show that the president has not missed a step, his campaign felt the need to feed questions to the hosts for a call-in radio interview. And the president still, even then, failed to deliver in many of his answers. Now, many elected Democrats are expressing concern about this answer, too, although it was quite coherent. George Stephanopoulos asking him how he would feel if he ultimately loses to Donald Trump, which polls have suggested he will.
I feel as long as I gave it my all and I did the goodest job as I know I can do.
Goodest job.
That's what this is about.
As long as he gave it his all and did the goodest job he could do.
No.
That's what it's all about.
He misquoted
Is it?
Biden. I'm debunking this. As long as I did my, I forget the first part, and the goodest job as I know I can do. It's really specific wording. I want to make t-shirts of it and then like the eye.
He's the goodest president.
Yeah, where his eyes up. I'm going to just make his ears the glowing coming out.
So they're all, but I don't even know what the headline of this video should be. They're all just now, so they all just got permission, and they're all acting like they're truth tellers.
That chick from the black radio station, I saw them talking to her, and they go, so he gave you questions to approve? She goes, yeah, but I approved 4 of them.
I approved it. They gave me 8. I only did 4.
Yeah, so she doesn't know. I mean, she got fired. All these assholes get pre-approved questions.
Yes.
You think they have spontaneous until George Stephanopoulos wants him out?
Yeah.
Probably they didn't film the questions. What's her name? Bill Maher. We already played that clip of. I forget her name. I just met her too on Gutfeld. But she's on a show with Bill Maher, and Biden was going on about how he played football. I forget her first name.
I forget.
It's like Fox or
yes,
something.
he didn't.
Yeah, and so she said they were pre-approved. Bill Maher's reading pre-approved questions. Everyone's doing that. Who the hell isn't getting pre-approved questions? You're going to fire one black chick that they tricked basically because she didn't know.
Right.
You don't do that. She goes, no, I chose, so it's not.
Believe me, that's not the first time they gave questions to somebody.
Yeah, all these people are going to keep their jobs out.
That's right. And why didn't CNN ever report it before that? Because you weren't allowed to. Now they're allowed to do that because it's throwing Joe Biden under the bus. And the donor class wants to get rid of Joe Biden. So they're trying to humiliate him and embarrass him and tell all the truths about him. And that's what's happening now.
Yeah.
That's what George Clooney wrote an op-ed. George Clooney is a billionaire donor.
Yeah.
Think of it like that. Man, how do you make $1 billion inventing a tequila company? You put
how much George Foreman making them
billion, but $1 billion? I mean, George Foreman maybe made $50-60 million. $1 billion?
Well, listen,
if off a tequila, there's already
look, you already know.
What? I don't even know what the name of the tequila company is. Do you know?
No, I
don't even know the name of it.
Yeah. Well, if Diddy, that's why Diddy sued that liquor distributor that he put his, because he makes his money from vodka.
What's the name of George Clooney's tequila company? Oh, Casamigos?
Yes.
It's all like Trader Joe brands.
He founded it in 2013 with Rand Gerber and Michael Meldman.
Drinking some right now.
Rand Gerber?
In 2013.
Wow. Right after the end of the world.
When did George Clooney sell his tequila company? It just says $1 billion.
Yes, you know how Diddy was, he suddenly got arrested because he went to sue his liquor, I can't remember what they're called, because he said they're being racist because George Clooney has $1 billion from his tequila, and Diddy doesn't have $1 billion. So that's when like, oh, okay, now we're going to go release embarrassing videos and all the crimes you do. You bit the hand that fed you. So Clooney never bit the hand that fed him.
So why would George Clooney do those Nespresso commercials? The only thing I can think of is maybe he did that and he gave all that money to charity or something. Or why would you be doing Nespresso commercials if you already have $1 billion?
I don't know. I'm sure he works at CIA in some capacity, so it's probably, it's probably something more. Just like Diddy did, just like all of them. Hugh Hefner did. All these guys with $1 billion and they're swinging bachelor.
Yeah. All right. Well, wait till I show you Anderson Cooper next. Watch this. Over to Steph.
Okay, thank you, Jimmy. This one says, like the Joker said, it's all part of the plan. Tarek. Hello, Tarek. Did we meet in Seattle? I think we did. 3/2/2020 was Super Tuesday. New York Times published the winners. 3/3/2020 interested American. Biden's. It was 3/2/2020 was Super Tuesday.
So they had Pete Buttigieg and all the rest drop out, and they left Elizabeth Warren in, and then as soon as Super Tuesday was over, and Bernie, it was done for Bernie. She dropped out. Yeah, okay. So watch this. There's something glorious about watching CNN read this Trump quote live on air. CNN viewers just got a truth bomb, and it's hilarious. So watch this. Watch Anderson Cooper. This is hilarious. Watch.
What happens if Kamala Harris is at the top of the ticket? I want to read to you exactly what he said because he just said it moments ago, so we haven't been able to cut that sound yet. But he says, whatever else can be said about crooked Joe Biden, you have to give him credit for one brilliant decision. Picking Kamala Harris as his vice president was the greatest insurance policy of all time. If Joe had picked someone even halfway competent, they would have bounced him from his office years ago.
That's the truth. She's not as good. If she was on Scarborough doing the interview, she would have been worse.
So
look at Anderson Cooper like, how does he know
Anderson Cooper's like, oh shit, I just have to take it now. This is what we're doing. So they got this is so obvious that the word came down from the donor class, the people who who own the stock in CNN, the people who are the advertisers, the people the word came down from the donor class, the 50 or 100 billionaires who run this country and the Western world, and said, get rid of them. And that's what this is. So now they're reading insults from Trump. They're literally reading insults from Trump And Anderson Cooper just has to sit there and take it.
What happens if Kamala Harris is at the top of the ticket? I want to read to you exactly what he said because he just said it moments ago, so we haven't been able to cut that sound yet. But he says, whatever else can be said about crooked Joe Biden, you have to give him credit for one brilliant decision. Picking Kamala Harris as his vice president was the greatest insurance policy of all time. If Joe had picked someone even halfway competent, they would have bounced him from his office years ago.
Well, I wish I could zoom in on Anderson because he's blinking up a storm.
Yeah, this reminds me.
He's blinking like every 2 seconds. Normally, I think you blink one every 8 seconds or something. He's blinking like every 2 seconds.
Why? Because he's registering every blessed word of that insult.
Yeah, yes,
and he knows it's true deep in his ice blue heart.
Yes.
Her reading that. It's not as great, but it's in the realm of when Dan Quayle read the lyrics to Cop Killer because he was so upset. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
Ice-T's speed metal band Cop Killer.
Yeah.
And he goes, I'm going to get my rocks off. I'm going to dust some cops off. And he said,
I want to hear this again.
What happens if Kamala Harris is at the top of the ticket? I want to read to you exactly what he said because he just said it moments ago, so we haven't been able to cut that sound yet. But he says, whatever else can be said about crooked Joe Biden, you have to give him credit for one brilliant decision. Picking Kamala Harris as his vice president was the greatest insurance policy of all time. If Joe had picked someone even halfway competent, they would have bounced him from his office years ago.
Okay, so this is all to humiliate Biden. Because,
this is it. Because
that's a good line. And why would they read his good line?
Why would they read it?
They make up things he didn't say, or they cut him apart.
All the time,
That's right.
They quoted that in its entirety. So that's maybe Biden will get the message. I think that Obama, this is just my wild speculation, is going to, of mice and men, he's going to tell him about the rabbits. And then, he passed away. He's such a great president. And now we owe it to him to bring Kamala Harris in. The fervor of now he's now we love him, now he's gone.
The establishment are so arrogant and stupid. They really are. That I bet they think they can win with Kamala Harris.
I'll bet you they will.
Yeah.
Try. What else could they do?
There's no way Biden can hang on.
Biden hang on.
It's all it takes is for Obama to come out and say something.
Yeah, well, that's the big word. Where's Obama?
If Obama after the debate, he was on his side. Biden. I've had bad nights. We all know what bad nights are. So, but as soon as the donor class tells Obama, go get him, it's over.
So we have to wait to see if there's white or black smoke from the chimney of Big Mike's house.
Yes. So they're trying to get him. So they're trying to get Biden to just step down without doing that. Because if Obama comes out and says he's not capable, and Biden still doesn't drop out, that's bad. But that is their ace in the hole.
Oh, it's so funny.
Okay. All right. Over to Steph.
All right. Hey, Sparky, you're back and I love it. I should have said that I heard Adam Carolla's interview of Newsom recently, not that the interview was recent. Apparently, it may be an old one. It's still great, though. You got that right, Sparky. The Uniparty is running against Dr. Jill Stein, the anti-Zionist Jew.
Kidding.
Beelzebub. Give the autocracy what they don't want. RFK Jr. on fire.
If democracy was at stake, wouldn't they have used RFK Jr. and not Joe Biden if this is the most important election? You're going to leave it up to,
He doesn't like Big Pharma.
He beat Medicare finally. That fine. We watched the last ice cube in his head melt live on TV.
We're going to see it. Doesn't he have a live statement wearing his big boy pants, talking to the big boy press tomorrow?
I don't know. They have another debate scheduled. They had a 2-debate deal, so there's another one.
I think it's tomorrow that he's going to speak to the press.
Is there anything for this?
So Dem Party operatives equal nationwide movement? SS wants to know. Orban just finished his peace mission. It failed, and now he says the next 2 to 3 months will be decisive battle of the war, World War III. Either way, stay safe. Noah Lord. 2020 Super Tuesday was March 3rd. Raul, thank you, Raul. Hopefully, Dr. Martin will emphasize that COVID-19. Okay, hold on. Let me save that one for a little bit later, that one, because I'm still on YouTube.
Okay, ready?
Savage. Back to Jim.
So this is quite a clip. This is Maxine Waters. She's getting ready to do an interview on CNN.
Uh-oh.
And here we go.
They've seen President Biden. They've lived through his presidency. They've also seen former President Trump, they've lived through his presidency. They've heard these arguments about democracy, about the fate of the election. And yet Trump is not only winning, but winning increasingly by a larger margin. So what is the plan among Democrats to change that trajectory? It sounds like you're talking about saying and doing all the same things, but do you believe that something needs to change?
I think we need to keep working.
Let's watch it again. There we go.
They've seen President Biden. They've lived.
First of all, add this to the list of things you do in the makeup room before you get on camera.
Things that need to change. My wig lady?
I just say whip it off. Just whip that off.
I was hoping she'd rip it
and show
off.
the world your bald head. And if anybody says anything, you have Will Smith come slap your name right out of their fucking mouth.
But she is old as hell.
Why did she just start shifting her bra around? Here we go. Ready?
They've seen President Biden. They've lived through his presidency. They've also seen former President Trump. They've lived through his presidency. They've heard these arguments about democracy, about the fate of the election. And yet Trump is not only winning, but winning increasingly by a larger margin. So what is the plan among Democrats to change that trajectory? It sounds like you're talking about saying and doing all the same things, but do you believe that something needs to change?
I think we need to keep working.
She's like a DJ. You know, a DJ talks over the music until she's like that. She's doing it all the way until she has to answer.
Yeah.
It would have been great if she had just said, besides my wig.
Yeah, it's really.
They've seen President Biden. They've lived through his presidency. They've also seen former President Trump. They've lived through his presidency. They've heard these arguments about democracy, about the fate of the election. And yet Trump is not only winning, but winning increasingly by a larger margin. So what is the plan among Democrats to change that trajectory? It sounds like you're talking about saying and doing all the same things, but do you believe that something needs to change?
I think we need to keep working.
She said it would be cool if she took a wad of cash out of her bra and started counting it and put it back in.
If that was... Imagine if that was a guy doing that with his wig.
I think it is a guy now after watching that.
Okay.
You must have read my mind. It's like, is that a dude?
That's just... I've never seen anything like that. That's hilarious. Hey, we should have older people running our country. And why is she still in office? Right? Because she's a tool of Wall Street. She's a tool of the donor class. And so they've made an investment. She's proven herself that she'll do whatever they want. And that, just like Joe Biden, that's why, just like Mitch McConnell, just like Chuck Schumer, these people are bought. And so the people who bought them don't want to let them go.
Or
they've made an investment.
They look like Chuck E. Cheese band robots. Like they're just like out of order and they're not. The wigs aren't right. They gotta like. It's just like a bunch of like animatronic robots that are breaking down in front of your face, and the company don't want to spend on new robots.
Okay, over to stuff.
All right. Of course, all I want to do is keep fixing my hair the rest of the show. Do it this way. Do I do it this way, or
no?
Do I do it this way, or
the first Zoom show? I'm going to have a wig and I'm going to be fixing it Maxine Waters style.
Right, exactly. I'll try to find you a wig. All right. What do we have here? Let's see here. Hopefully, Dr. Martin. Whoa, I'll come back to that one. Okay. There's a reason. You know the reason. Savage, not to worry. Now I remember hearing that Newsom interview on your show was oversampling some wine I made, I guess. Sorry about that. Oversampling. Nice work there, Sparky. Thank you for oversampling. All right, let's see who that was. Okay, that one's from Savage.
You see pictures?
Biden's 2024 slogan, I'm with her. Stealthy. That was nice work there, Savage.
I'm with me.
Interested American. Oh, I read that one. 3220 was Super Tuesday. Like the Joker said, it's all part of the plan. You know, I can't believe that the Republicans aren't saying, I think Joe Biden's great. Why wouldn't the Republicans just keep coming out saying, he's great, let him run?
Have you seen Putin talking about how Biden is like, yeah, he's good. He was really sharp when he talked. And he looked like he was covering his face while he's laughing.
Yes. Stroudsburg, Steph, best show ever. Tarek, okay. Thank you so much, Tarek. Great to hear from you again. How scary is Kamala? Putin was on the fence about invading Ukraine until he heard Kamala's speech at the Munich Security Conference. Sparky.
Okay.
Back to Jim.
So this BRICS News, they tweeted out, just in NATO officially announces it will send F-16 fighter jets to Ukraine for its war against Russia. That is so magnanimous of the United States. They're going to send Ukraine F-16 fighters to stave off the latest Russian technology. If you don't remember, Kurt,
you can't fly them?
The F-6, first of all, well, let me play it.
And I'm also pleased to announce that as we speak, the transfer of F-16 jets is underway.
So look for those to be blown up immediately because all those pilots are going to be Biden age or possibly pregnant women, whatever's left of the Ukraine population, really.
Yeah, that we're only trained on MiGs and you can't just learn how to fly an F-16.
That's right.
Oh, wait, are we going to use our troops in the F-16s and pretend it's Ukraine? Because what else would you be able to do?
And for those who don't remember the 1980s action films, like series like The Iron Eagle, the F-16 is a 50-year-old airplane.
I saw Top Gun 2, and Tom Cruise and the other guy found an old F-16 to fight against a nameless enemy that probably was Russia. And it worked.
So,
great.
Yeah.
Miles Teller and Tom Cruise, it's all you need.
We have some D-Day Omaha beach landing vehicles that we could offer them, too. Maybe why don't we send those over? Don't worry, these are the lucky ones.
Did we take out a lot of insurance on those F-16s? Like, is that what this is?
I guess we're also going to be donating some chipped beef from the Korean conflict.
And some cheese from the cheese caves. You know those caves full of government cheese they still have?
Let's listen.
Coming from Denmark, coming from the Netherlands.
Oh, people all started plotting more war.
Those jets will be flying in the skies of Ukraine this summer to make sure that Ukraine can continue to effectively defend itself against the Russian aggression.
Okay, they're not.
Or begin to?
They're not effectively, they're not.
Again, with no aid, they would have more territory.
That's right. Russia already has the territory they want. It's already done. So, again, this is the United States provoking this war and then perpetuating it. This war would have been long over if not for the United States. In fact, this war would have never started if it wasn't for the United States. So there would be no war. Except for the United States. The war would have ended. There were peace deals before it ever started. There were peace deals immediately after it started. The United States sabotaged all of them.
Well, they interfered with our election, so Russia interfered.
So I thought
let AIPAC do that.
Chandler says, I thought NATO was meant to protect NATO member countries. Ukraine is not a part of our alliance, so why is NATO giving them weapons? Because that's not what NATO's about. NATO's run by BlackRock and Vanguard and the military-industrial complex in Wall Street, and they want to balkanize Ukraine and split it up. They thought they could do the same thing to Russia, and they still think they can, but they can't.
And also, we got to get rid of some old weapons so we can build some new weapons, because we're going to be defenseless. We don't have any F-16s.
Now we're going to have to be built. That's right. So it's not Russian aggression, it's NATO aggression. They are forcing World War III agenda on us. Exactly.
Well, and people are Biden, and now you get World War III.
And those people are applauding it.
I told you a friend of mine was like, yeah, we should have world. It was so insane. There's a guy I know for a long time that I like a lot who, he's gone, man. He goes, yeah, we should do that. I'm like, so you think that at all costs we should have World War III? I've never even heard anybody make that argument who still thinks that that's going well. I don't even think Anthony Blinken would openly make an argument like that.
Let's have World War III?
No, he would go, we got to support him until it is World War III, because he at least knows they're doing.
They're not a member, why doesn't Europe take care of this problem? Again, because it's...
NATO is not an effective deterrent against attacks from NATO. You need Ukraine to handle it.
United States... That's right. NATO's not big enough. The United States is the hegemon, is the global imperialist hegemon, and that's what this is about. Again, if the people who believe what they read in the paper, they believe that. Did you believe it about Iraq? Did you believe it about Afghanistan for 20 years? Did you believe it about Libya? Did you believe it about Iraq the first time? How many times did you be lied to? Syria? Did you believe about that? Do you still do?
You know what? I don't believe them that they read the paper.
Yeah, right.
I think they said they did, and they did not read it. I think they listen to like Pod Save Them, like some moron podcast of some other dumb shit.
Did you see that Russell Dobler from Do Dissonance went and interviewed people?
Yes,
I
did.
Waiting in line.
Yeah, I like there was a bunch of people who's like their family works in government. They're waiting for their security clearance. The two gay guys, remember?
Yeah.
Well, I shouldn't say because I'm waiting on my security clearance.
They're like, no, the economy's fine. If you can't make it, you're lazy. These people sounded like people we made fun of in the 80s who voted for Reagan.
Yeah, well, there's so many jobs out there and people don't want to work.
People don't want to work.
You know how it is.
You know how it is.
They just...
If I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle-diddle-diddle-digga-digga-diddle-dum, all day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, you know, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, you know, the babies that have been murdered, you know, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, you know, money poor people. You know, this government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But you know, something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. You know, we don't really know what war is. for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison. But they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators. And they're going to have riots on their hands. They're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. We have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating, what we need, what needs to be done. And, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. Don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, this system and those backing the officials running the system, want people to believe that revolution means violence, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. When people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. They get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. Every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. Our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. Men, women, and children were murdered. And not just MOVE babies. What about all of the young men, women, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, by drug pushers? Where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, making a quick buck, I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. How long are people going to sit back and beg, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years, all you've gotten is a slap in the face. All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit